So it's been a year since Patek Philippe released the Cubitus, a watch that split opinions instantly.
This is the one that everybody loves to hate or loves to love.
When I had it in my hand, my opinion changed completely.
But now, in 2025, the question is simple. Do people actually like it, or do they just like what it's worth? People used to mock its square case, and now people are calling it a future icon.
Get ready to have the whole world asking, to have this piece.
But not necessarily for its design, more for its scarcity, resale premiums, and the fact that owning one of these watches signals that you were able to get one of the latest Pateks, and a Patek that took over 25 years to come to market. So Thierry Stern, Patek Philippe's president, said he would like this watch to have a real sporty, fresh spirit, capturing the essence of a convertible car. Now, I have this Patek Cubitus 5821, and over the last year, and probably for a very long time into the future, people will be talking about this watch. But it is an interesting choice of words. A convertible car driver is typically someone that is successful. Maybe they've got their own business or they're high up in the corporate world, maybe middle-aged, and they enjoy life's luxuries. You don't buy a convertible car if you're not a certain type of person. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, it's pretty clear to see what Patek's vision is here. They're clearly targeting a specific niche of successful people, I would say. Probably ages 30 to 50, I would best guess. There is obviously some vision here, and it's taking parts of Patek's past into the future, and maybe you could argue that there is a little bit of lack of creativity. I understand that. It's the same bracelet, very similar case, I guess. It's not the Nautilus octagonal bezel shape, but it's square. It almost looks like it's just been stretched out by all four corners. But it is something new, and innovation is one of Patek's core pillars of innovation. So, they're staying true to their word that they've done something different, albeit it has taken 25 years. I always find it interesting when a new watch gets released, especially when it's a brand new line, a brand new model, right? Like with the Rolex Land Dweller. It's a classic case of social conformity, I think. Because something is new and because people fear being alienated from their peers, i.e. in the watch community, people will jump to the position where most people are shouting, or shouting the loudest. And often the case when something is new, people don't like it. So the loudest shouters are the people that don't like the watch to begin with. It changes over time, and I'll touch on this, but negativity sells way better than positivity, right? Yeah, I think a lot of people, to begin with, think that the watch is not so great. It's also interesting that, people make such a strong opinion based on images and maybe some videos of a watch. I really do think you've got to see a watch in person, you've got to hold it, you've got to wear it. There was probably only a very few amount of people that got to actually see the watch, even in a glass cabinet, let alone actually be able to touch it and really get a sense of what it's like to understand the Cubitus. Another interesting observation I find with people that are actually getting allocated a watch like the Cubitus or the Land Dweller, whatever, these people often like the watch. And I don't know if they're more inclined to like it because they're actually being offered it and it's more real for them. The people that I met that actually have the watch or got offered the watch, they often like it. So I also wonder if there's something in actually being able to get the watch. Something else to consider here is the fact that the steel Cubitus, the 5821 that I have, is considered to be an entry-level watch, but you have to be more specific because it's an entry-level watch based on the price point, but not so much the accessibility and the allocation. What actually is a Patek entry-level watch is more like a Calatrava. While it looks great from a price point of view that, a younger demographic of people can actually afford this watch, in reality, it isn't entry-level because it's just impossible to get. And at this point, it probably is the most difficult Patek to buy directly from Patek. And it's interesting that John Mayer asked Thierry Stern recently whether he genuinely believed that they're offering this as an entry-level watch, to which he replied quite politically well by saying that there is an ongoing conversation internally at Patek. He actually said that it was an ongoing battle. He would rather offer the sporty, younger demographic type of watches like this steel Cubitus. He does have the option of offering a very complicated precious metal watch, and he would do much better from a revenue and profit point of view, but he does want to also have a lower price point entry-level watch like this Cubitus. And I just find it fascinating that you can say one thing, but very well, not even deep down, just straight off the bat that it's not an entry-level watch. Because like I said, there is entry-level from price and there's entry-level from accessibility, and He's saying these things because he has to, but yeah, I don't know if I believe it, to be honest. I think people were quite accepting and were welcoming of a steel sporty watch. We saw the discontinuation of the 5711, and then a bit later on, well, earlier in 2025, the 5712, and the Nautilus 5711 evolved into the 5811, which turned into white gold. So there was this gap, there was a need from the customer base for a sporty, steel, full steel watch. That's the box that the Cubitus has ticked. Obviously we had the Aquanaut, the 5167A on rubber, but there was a need for this. So I don't think we can be too disappointed. At the time, my personal thoughts were that I just didn't understand it because it was something new and a completely new bold look. I just didn't understand why they did it. It is quite a big watch. The case is pretty big. I just didn't understand it, and I didn't think at the time it was very Patek-like. In my head, I just saw a Cartier Santos and a Bell & Ross X5. That's all I saw. But if you think about it, what were we expecting to see? Because if it looked more like the Nautilus, we'd be complaining that it just looks like a Nautilus and Patek were being lazy. If it looked like something completely different, we'd probably be annoyed that it's not in line with the Patek look and feel, quite like this new Hublot that's been released. You know, it's kind of like, in the beginning, it's a lose-lose in terms of opinions, but my opinion did change over time for sure. And you know what? I think it's okay to change your mind. People thought and said the same about the Land Dweller, and then it came out and people really, really like that now. And the same with the GMT Sprite, the left-hand drive watch. It was confusing, people didn't understand it. They were like, what is the need for it? But you know, over time, people kind of appreciate the innovation and the boldness to test the boundaries of design and innovation. And you know, we kind of learn to live with it in a way. I did see some of the Cubitus watches from quite an early point, so I developed a likeness for it quite quickly, but I understand that, you know, some people would still not like it today. I completely get it, you know, not everyone's gonna like this watch. And even me now, you know, from a size point of view, I probably wouldn't choose it. I would choose one of the newer releases, so the white gold or the rose gold 7128, both of which are 40mm. It looks way better on my wrist, and I think it's more comfortable to wear. So it's taken 25 years to get to this point. Do we think that the future of the Cubitus will be strong? Is the Cubitus here to stay? I'd be very surprised if it was a 2, 3 to 5 year production run line. I think instead of discontinuation, I think we're gonna see more development. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a chronograph, moon phase, some sort of diving mutation version of the Cubitus. Like, who knows? Like, there's a lot that Patek can do with this. You know, they've already gone smaller in the precious metal ones, like I said. Production will inevitably stay low. Demand will therefore remain high, and the grey market prices will be at least 2 times the retail price. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 3 to 4 times more expensive than the retail price. I do think that the Cubitus will become more loved. I think it will be understood more. I think people will learn to appreciate it. And that's a good thing. You know, quite like the Nautilus and the Aquanaut, when they were first released, people did not understand those watches at all. And it's only fairly recently that people have actually learned to really, really love those watches. And it's great to see, it really is. It's very clear to see that the Cubitus has divided opinions, and it will continue to do so. And that's completely okay. We're allowed our own opinions, and it doesn't matter if someone has a different opinion to yours. I think Patek have done well. I think they've delivered on something that was needed. And also everyone's talking about the watch, so Patek have obviously done something right. So with everything said, it's a thumbs up from me. I do really like the Cubitus line now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.